It doesn't take long before a kid growing up in the South realizes that there are three things that matter: faith, family, and football. Timothy Alexander grew up in Center Point, Alabama. The youngest of three brothers, he was the typical baby of the family.
Growing up, Tim was a fun little guy. Kind of a headache, but that's what younger brothers are.
Timothy was a very playful child, very happy.
I loved to play. I had a Mongoose bike club when I was young. I loved football. Football is where I learned, get off my grass, you're killing my grass. I started playing football at the age of 5. My mom put me on the football field. She understood that I gotta give him something to do. He's active.
Football became much more than just a game. It became his salvation. His talent emerged in high school. Not only did his coach take notice on the field, he saw Timothy's potential for what he could be off the field.
Everybody looked at him as the class clown, an individual that, enjoyed life. I saw a lot more, to be honest with you, I really did.
I never forget, we were sitting down in a meeting and Coach Miller was like, how many of y'all want to win? And I raised my hand in the air and Coach said, Tim, no you don't. All you want to do is just sit around and crack jokes and flirt with the girls and skip class. He said, look at you, look at your height. Look at your hands, man, you got it. Everybody that's coming here, they want to see you. And of course, my teammates laughed at me, but that really hit home. And I just started grinding.
Everything he did, he critiqued himself. You didn't have to critique him. He critiqued himself. People learned from him. He didn't talk the talk, he walked the walk. What he said, he meant, and what he said, he did.
Timothy's drive to improve, to be the best, to beat the best, was inspired by more than just his love for the game. There was one person Timothy wanted to impress more than anyone else: his older brother David. David was more than just his older brother. He was his mentor, his friend, and his hero.
I was closer to him than anyone. We shared a room. I never forget one time my brother was like, Tim, I love you. I want you to make it to the NFL one day. I'm like, you love me? He never told me he loved me because he was a brother that showed his love through tough love. He was like, man, I know you love football. He was like, keep doing what you're doing. You're making the grades. You're being an athlete on and off the field.
They were close when it came to sports. He just always said, you didn't do this and you didn't do that, and that's not the way to run the ball. He always wanted to go to the NFL, and different coaches was coming to talk with him.
The game that was Timothy's salvation had now provided him with the opportunity to do what he really wanted to do, and that was to save his family. However, there are some things in life you just can't prepare for.
I was cutting the grass and I got tired and I rinsed the lawnmower off and I put the lawnmower on the inside back in the laundry room. And my brother ran into the house and he said, Tim, wake up. And I'm like, what you mean wake up? He said, the house is on fire. And when I got up, I saw the house smoking. And when we ran out the front door, we ran through the fire. Well, then my mother's friend died. My brother went to my mother's friend's funeral and everything, and he came and picked me up, and he was like, Tim, we gotta get it together. We gotta be stronger for Mom. And I can never forget it. The next day, my older brother came and picked me up from school.
I went to the school, and I tried not to tell him when I picked him up or checked him out what was going on. He saw it on my face, so he was like, Fred, what's wrong? What's wrong? Where David at? Where Ma at? So I was just like, Tim, David had an accident.
That was a very rough time in my life because it was like it was taking my best friend. I had a lot of friends, but that was my brother.
He went into a state of depression. He was just devastated because of the loss of David.
I gotta leave. You know, Ma, I gotta go somewhere. I can't be in this home.
I was just too grieved to dwell on what he was doing and where he was.
Timothy was lost, but with the arrival of fall, he found solace on the football field, surrounded by his team. He dedicated his season to making David's dream come true.
We're playing Gardendale. This is a game of a lifetime. You know, that whole week was very different because I'm like, okay, I gotta play this game. I'm gonna play for my brother. You know, I'm gonna do this for my brother. I'm gonna give it all.
He played one of the best games I've seen in a long time. He was the reason we won.
We looked in the stand, it was recruit after recruit after recruit. My coach said, you know, Tim, you're going to school. We stayed out late that night. My mom gave me a curfew. I came home late anyway because I'm just excited that we won. Well, when I got home, my mom was like, you know, Tim, you need to cut this grass before you leave. I'm like, Mom, it's the classic. I'm going to Legion Field to have fun with my friends.
And my mom gives me a call and says, Tim has been in an accident.
And in an instant, a car accident shattered more than just Timothy's dreams of a football career. More than just the bones in his body were broken. He was paralyzed from the neck down.
What do I do now? Everything is at my front door. Now I gotta learn how to live as in a wheelchair. That was a tough time for me in my life, and from then, you know, I turned my back on God. I was very mean to my mom, just very mean to everyone. And I didn't want to be here anymore. I said, if I'm gonna be like this the rest of my life, pull the plug.
And he said, Mama, I do not wish this on my worst enemy. And I told him in his ear, I said, you are not going to die. You are going to live and declare the works of the Lord.
Just as Timothy's mom had relied on her faith to bring her through the loss of one son, she was now asking God to help her save another one.
I didn't want to be like that for the rest of my life. And I always heard about God. My mother used to come in there and pray for me to God all the time. And I said, you know what, God, if you are real like my mother says you are, you know, you show me something in my dream. And God showed me playing football. He showed me doing things at UAB, you know, playing football. And I said, okay, I'm going to school.
Timothy was back and determined to turn his dream into a reality.
I knew a transformation had happened for him to even want to work out. I knew something within him was pulling on him. So I believe if you start working, God will meet you wherever you start working from.
Shannon had me doing push-ups. We was making a way to do core exercises. He worked with my legs. He trained me just as if I was getting ready to go and play D1 at an SEC school.
Once I saw that he was serious, I wouldn't let off. I wouldn't back down. I knew he could do it.
While I'm working, I'm telling everybody I'm going back to school. I'm going back to school to do something for God, you know, to go and show people that if you can believe, all things are possible.
You know, I was announced as head coach. There was this kid came up to me and just introduced himself to me. He had a great smile, great personality. And he said to me that day, at some point, I'm going to be playing on your football team. I'm going to start at tight end for you at some point. And, you know, I didn't forget that. He never wanted me to see him as different, and I didn't. You know, because we forced him to go to rehab, you know, every day. We checked his class, make sure he was going to class every day. He was just, you know, another kid on the team.
Every parent would say, well, who do you have on the team? I said, that's my son out there, number 87. I never identified him as the young man in the wheelchair.
There's a lot of these kids that are running around on football fields like this, and they got the, you know, the world by the hand. They got it made. Great athletes. Well, here's a kid that could be a great athlete. You could tell if that guy could get out there and play, he'd probably be one of the top players in the country, but he can't. But he's never down. He never has a bad day. He's always smiling, figuring out how he can go help someone else.
Just like all those years before, it's still never enough for Timothy to save only himself.
Tim was able to still go and do what he did at UAB, that just really gives me more reassurance that, hey, I can do the same thing, or, you know, maybe I could still go play baseball, or maybe if it's not in my future, I could, you know, just go out and change people's lives like he's done for me.
Many times here at the church, many times around the youth, he does gather with a group of young people and motivates them, and I see tremendous change in those young people when they get around Tim.
We'd have players on the team that were not doing really good emotionally or having something off the field going, and Tim would come to me and say, listen, I talked to him last night. This is what he's going through.
I want to become a motivational player in my teammates' life. And so people say, how do you play football? And I say, I do mental reps. I play football in the life and in the hearts of my teammates. And I never ran up and down the football field.
Ask Timothy why, and the answer is easy. Stay off the grass. You get knocked down, you get right back up.
He lives what he talks about. He's not phony.
Something special will happen with that kid. There's no doubt. Something out of this world will end up happening with that kid simply because of the way that he approaches life every single day.
I believe Tim will walk again. I truly believe it.
I'm believing in God he will.
I do believe Tim will walk again. You cannot tell Tim he will not walk again.
You can't measure the heart of an individual. Heart overcomes a lot of physical handicaps. It really does. Just because they say he might not run as fast, he might not run as long, but as far as believing, yes, I do, from the bottom of my heart, the depths of my heart.
With every fiber of my being, I believe God to bring it to pass.
My life is better than what I imagined, and it's still getting better.